Hi, we're working on week 10, Tuesday's daily edit. I'm continuing the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory story. A fire broke out on the 8th floor of the building at about 4:40 in the afternoon. The 8th floor were where 40 workers, all men, cut fabric at long wooden tables. Although the skilled workers wasted little fabric, they always produced some scraps. These scraps were thrown into bins under the tables. Roughly every 2 months, a rag dealer removed about a ton of scraps and sells them back to cotton mills that made new cloth from them. The last pickup had been in January, which means, of course, that the bins beneath the wooden tables held about a ton of scraps. These scraps was not the only flammable materials in the room. Today we have 3 capitalization errors, 4 language usage errors, 1 colon, 5 commas, 1 hyphen, and 6 spelling mistakes. All right, in our first sentence, a fire broke out on the 8th floor of the building at about 4:40 in the afternoon. Our first mistake is going to be A. It should be capitalized. We also need to insert a colon, and we're going to insert that between the 2 fours because it is a time and we write time with colons. My second sentence says the 8th floor were where about 40 workers, all men, cut fabric at long wooden tables. My first language usage error here is were. It should be was. My next mistake is a spelling mistake, and that is the word 40. It should be F-O-R-T-Y. I will now have 2 commas because I am just introducing information or an interruption, so all men. And that concludes the issues with sentence 2. Although the skilled workers wasted little fabric, they always produced some scraps. My first mistake is wasted. This wasted is like waist around your waist. We want wasted as in like a byproduct. And my next one is another spelling mistake, and that is produced. Should be P-R-O-D-U-C-E-D. My next sentence says, these scraps were thrown into bins under the tables. First off, I need to start my sentence with a capital letter, so I need to capitalize the T in these. Thrown is used, it's the correct thrown if I was talking about like the throne for a king, but I'm not. I'm talking about the verb thrown. And that is that for that sentence. My next sentence, roughly every 2 months, a rag dealer removed about a ton of scraps and sells them back to the cotton mills that made new cloth from them. I'm going to actually delete this hyphen because I don't have a compound adjective. It's just saying 2 months. I have a spelling error, and that is going to be dealer. That should be spelled D-E-A-L-E-R. I have another spelling mistake, and that's going to be scraps. It should be S-C-R-A-P-S. And then I have a usage error, and that is sells. It should actually be sold. In my next sentence, the last pickup had been in January, which means, of course, that the bins beneath the wooden tables held about a ton of scraps. So my first one is going to be a capitalization error, and that's going to be the J in January because it is a specific month. After January, I'm going to put a comma because I am going to be describing the rest of the sentence. And I also have another usage error, and that is means. It should be meant. And I have an interruption, so I'm going to put a comma after meant and after course. So of course the sentence could stand without it. They're just adding it to add effect. And my last sentence, these scraps was not only the only flammable materials in the room. I have another usage error, and that is going to be was. It should be were. And that concludes our daily edit.